Now, the first thing, top 5 domains after CH. Now, what domains you can enter after CH? What after CH you will do? So, if you want to enter into cybersecurity and now you are CH certified, so what places you can go into, where you can do the jobs and all, right? So, the thing is, top 5 things. Network penetration testing. So if you are good with networks and after CH you have a good understanding basically after networks, and it is the truth. So after that you can go for network penetration testing. Now anyone who can tell me what is network penetration testing? Okay. So in network penetration testing, guys, what we do, we talk in terms of networks, right? So in networks, what we have OSI model, right? We have TCP/IP model, right? So in this, what we can do, we can just go through these things. We can find out vulnerabilities in the protocols that these models are using, in the devices we can go for, right? So we have routers, right? We have switches, we have hubs, repeaters, and many devices we have like load balancers. So we have to test all those devices. So whatever things are there in the network, right? The protocols of the network, the devices in the network, the topologies that we create. So everything we have to test, we have to find out a way. As a penetration tester, we have to find out a way that by which way we can get inside this network, right? So we will find out a vulnerability, we will exploit that vulnerability, and we will gain access to that vulnerability, right? So that's how we do in the work in the network penetration testing. So as I told you, there are two things, vulnerability assessment and penetration testing, right? So vulnerability assessment, if we go to, so it is just finding out the vulnerabilities. Penetration testing is exploiting those vulnerabilities, right? So in penetration testing, we find out the vulnerabilities in the network and then we exploit those vulnerabilities, right? Next domain that you can enter is web application penetration testing. Now, every company has a web application and many of the companies has their web application where they showcase their products, right? Where they showcase what kind of services they provide if they are service based companies. So their web application, can we use their web application to get inside their internal network, right? So let's say this is a user, or let's say this is an attacker, right? Now this attacker, you have a firewall in between, right? And this is your internal network, right? So there are different devices in your internal network, right? So in these different devices, using the web application vulnerabilities, so you can, how you can get inside the internal network and get access to all the internal devices, right? So for that we learn about OWASP, and this is a part of CH. So in OWASP top 10, you learn about like top 10 vulnerabilities in web applications that are going on nowadays. So WAS stands for Open Web Application Security Projects, right? So we find out those vulnerabilities if there are any vulnerabilities related to web application, and we exploit those vulnerabilities and get inside the network, right? Next we have mobile penetration testing. Now if you are good with mobiles and if you love the way that how you can uh, get inside the mobiles, right? So we have iOS, we have Android, right? So how we can exploit these platforms. Now, these platforms are secure, basically, according to Apple, iOS is secure, according to Google, Android is secure. But inside Apple and inside Android, we have different applications. So, what we have to do basically in mobile penetration testing, we have to test those applications, right? So when you will be testing those applications, so using any application, let's say there is Instagram, right? You have this Instagram in your mobile phone, both in iOS and Android. Now, if there is any vulnerability in Instagram, that will lead me to the operating system of the mobile phone. So these kinds of vulnerabilities you can find in mobile penetration testing. So you will test different mobile applications and the applications that are being created nowadays. So you will test those and find out vulnerabilities in that, right? IoT, Internet of Things. You can go for IoT penetration testing as well, guys. Now in IoT, what happens, like you have a smartwatch, right? So what happens if I tell you, let's say you have this as your smartwatch. Now the data of your smartwatch is saved inside your mobile phone. Yes or no? Everyone agrees. Your data is saved in your mobile phone. So if you bought a watch of, let's say, Samsung or Apple or any smartwatch you have bought, now the tracker will track down your steps, all your health things, like whatever it is meant to track, like whatever, how many steps you have walked today, what is your blood pressure, right? Everything it will track and it will save it inside that application, right? So that data, if your mobile phone, let's say your mobile phone is lost, right? This is your mobile phone, it is lost someday. You will do what? You will again purchase a new one and you will download that application and all of your data will be retrieved back. That means there is cloud in between as well, right? So your data from the watch is going to the cloud and from the cloud it is going to your mobile phone and it is showing. So you can find vulnerability in the smartwatch in the cloud as well. So that is IoT, right? Now cloud penetration testing, like as I told yesterday, everyone is moving towards cloud nowadays. The on premises is not into the hype nowadays. The cloud is in hype that we will move our all of the infrastructure into cloud so everyone can access it easily, and there is security as well. But as soon as everything is going online, the attacks and risks are uh, increasing, right? So the risks are increasing. For that, we have to do the cloud penetration testing as well. So we have to test for the cloud. Yeah. So cloud platforms will test if there is any vulnerability that is leading the attacker to the servers of ours that are hosted in the cloud. That will let the attacker to take all the information from the cloud, right? So these are the top 5 domains that one can move after CH, right? Any questions, anyone?
Means apart from this, will it also help us for auditing, as far as auditing is concerned, where we have internal audits or external audits?
Correct. So if you want to go for the auditing part, right? So let's say I want to be an auditor. Now, for being an auditor, I must know about the tax, right? You should know about the
Right,
tax.
right.
Now, if I'm knowing about the tax, how I will learn about the tax? So CH will give you the idea that how attacks happen. Now, after CH, you can go for the certifications like ISO, and for after that, you can be the lead implementer or lead auditor. So we have ISO, LI, and LA. So lead implementer or lead auditor, you can go for after CH, right?
Okay. Okay.
Eh, so is this course includes the tools for maybe the auditing purpose, or maybe for the web application testing, penetration testing? Are there any demos will be there when we will be doing course,
See,
or any tools?
like what will be happening, like all the things, all the domains that I told you, these are the part of your CH. So yesterday I told you guys that what are the modules in CH. So for every module we have different tools, right? How to go into, how to check the directories in web application, how to what are the vulnerabilities in web application, and how to exploit those vulnerabilities. What are the new tools that are being there? So as if you know that OAS or releases top 10 list after every 3 years, right? Now after every 3 years in 2021 they released a list, and in that list SSRF is the new vulnerability, server side request forgery, right? So we will tell you the tools, like we have SSR fire, right? So these are the tools that we have. So we will be telling you that what are the tools, and you will do the practical of those tools as well, so that you will know that how those tools are working and what is happening in the background, right? So whole scenario you will be understanding in this, right?
Thank you, thank you. Actually, I was not there in the first one. So do you have any recording and you can share uh, with,
Yes.
with me?
So our recordings will be shared on our YouTube channel. So the name of the new YouTube channel is InfosecTrain. So you can search InfosecTrain, and recordings will be uploaded soon over there.
Thank you.
Okay, great.
I have a question here, Ashish.
Yes,
When
please.
the cloud, as you said, that cloud penetration test. So the cloud service providers, like if you name it like Amazon Web Services or AWS, everybody is giving their own security protocols. They are securing our data. How do we ensure that our data, once we are uploaded our data, how do we ensure that our data is secured and it's not been disturbed, or it's not been attacked by some other people? Because until unless the complete data is in within the cloud, and the cloud is managed by the Amazon Web Services. Let us take an example of Amazon Web Services. How do we say that until unless it's a major risk, they will not disclose it? So they will keep it secure, and they will not disclose the things. How do we identify that our client, how do we make sure that our clients, my client is uploaded my data into the Azure, he will ask me what kind of security we do have for our data? Do we need to put any additional layer apart from the cloud, or how it is like? What would you suggest
See,
in this scenario?
whatever your infrastructure is, your
Yeah.
infrastructure should be secure, right?
Yes.
Now, apart from that, everything is on AWS and Azure. So Azure is a name, right? A brand,
Yeah.
you can say. Like Microsoft is a brand, Amazon is a brand. So we are relying on that. Now, this is called trust,
Yes.
right? So what we are doing, we are trusting Amazon, we are trusting Azure, because they are saying that there is 100% security we provide. Your data will be secure with us. And these are big brands, so their security team is working every time. If with their security people's in offensive side, they are always trying to find out vulnerabilities. They are patching, blue team is patching the vulnerabilities. So that's why they are confident that we are secure. Like it's same, right? As I say that after CH you will be able to go into any of the domains. So how much sure you are about this? So there is a trust between you and me, that if I am saying that these are the places where you can apply for and go start your career into, so this will be a true thing, right?
Yes.
Right, that's the thing. So
Okay.
that
So,
is trust thing that you have.
okay.
So we trust AWS. Same like that, we have digital certificates. So every website gets a digital certificate. Now, will you whenever you visit any website, do you ever check a digital certificate of any website? No.
Yes. Yes.
Like many people does not do that. But for us who is doing that, it is done by our browser. And the authority that there is in digital certificates, we have validation authority. So validation, our browser asks the validation authority that if this website is certified, and who is giving the certificate, the certification authority, like we have GoDaddy, we have Cloudflare, right? So these
Yes.
are the like we have DigiCert. So these are the kinds of certification authorities. So we are relying on certification authority, we are trusting the certification authority that yeah, they might have checked everything of this website, so this website might be secure, right? So that's the thing that is happening.
Okay. I understood. Got it. Thank you so much.
Right. So these are the domains that we can move into, right? Now, what are the job roles that you can get after CH? So there are lots and lots of job roles, right? So as you can see, the whole list. Now, where you can move, mid-level information assurance security audit, cyber security auditor, system security administrator, IT security administrator, cyber defense analyst, vulnerability assessment analyst, warning analyst, information security analyst, information security administrator, cyber security analyst level 1, level 2, level 3, right? Network security engineer, SOC security analyst, your security operations center, security analyst, network engineer, you can be senior security consultant, manual ethical hacker, information security, you can go inside, right? Junior penetration tester. So it's, as you guys can see, it's in red, right? So if you have a good understanding of penetration testing and you are good with tools after CH, and you learn the tools and you know how to attack and find out vulnerabilities, so you can start as a penetration tester directly as well, right? Senior SOC analyst you can go for as well, right? Solution architect, cyber security consultant, security compliance analyst, technology risk and cyber security audit. So you can go for auditing roles as well. You can start with the networking part. Let's say you want to be a network engineer, you can go for that as well. You want to go for security uh, analyst, that a person who starts into security. So you can be a security analyst as well, right? And the advantage you have, if you, let's say, you are working into an organization right now, so this also gives you an advantage, right? That you have an experience and now you have a certificate. So certificate does what it says, like it tells that you have the knowledge, right? Now if you have the knowledge, so you can go for a senior role as well. So if it's written over here, cybersecurity analyst level 1, 2, 3 as well. You can go for senior SOC analyst as well if you want to go into defensive side, right? Network security engineer, SOC analyst, everything, right? For vulnerability assessments and penetration testings. So for VAPTs, you can also go, right? So these are the things that you can apply for, right? So these are all the things. There are more job roles that you can apply for. Like there is IoT engineer as well. As I told you, you can go into IoT. So everything, the job role, it is written, right? So you will not be called like IoT engineer, you will be called like, if you went to IoT pen testing, so you will be called a penetration tester, junior penetration tester, or senior penetration tester, right? So after that, you will tell your domain that I'm into IoT. So these are all the common job rules that you can go after CH. Clear, everyone?
Yes, it's clear. I have a question, Ashish. Sorry, it's a
Yes,
small
please.
thing. If I want to become a pen tester, so normally when I worked in the system organization system level, so I install Norton antivirus and I'll check my virus in the system. Likewise, in the penetration tester, so do we have a specialized software for this pen testing, or how it's like, how do we get this license, and will infosec will provide the licenses for us, or do we need to buy, or how do we take this subscription for the pen testing levels? How do we do in real time
See,
scenarios? Yeah,
being a pen tester, you have all your tools prepared, right?
yeah,
So if there is any tool, that specific tool you need, right?
yeah,
So the company will provide you, right? So there are lots and lots of tools, right? But mostly the tools, what we do, manual penetration testing we perform, and in that manual penetration testing, we have all the tools in our Linux. So in we prefer Kali Linux, and in Kali Linux we have different tools. Like for scanning, we have Nmap, Nessus, OpenVAS, but we prefer Nessus. Now, why so? First thing, Nessus is your GUI. Second thing, there is an option in Nessus that creates reports automatically. So what you have to do after penetration testing, you have to do what? You have to submit report that what vulnerability you found and how you found it, what was your technique for getting inside. Now you have to write everything. So what Nessus does, Nessus creates the reports and gives it to you. Now what you have to do, you have to edit that report and add some things, your attack and your methods. You have to add some more things and your report is done, it's completed. So that's why we prefer Nessus. You can also try out within map. Now what happens, in every organization you will find different difficulties, you will face different obstacles, right? That if I'm trying to, let's say, once I was trying to get into, I was scanning a web application, and that web application was not giving me any directories, right?
yeah.
Because I tried Derb, right? So after that I tried GoBuster, then Derbuster. So one of them worked, right? So that's how your approach should be. You should be knowing about the tools. You will use the first one. If it is working, that's good. If it is not, you have to move to the next one. Like in Nmap as well, there are some places like if you want to do the scanning, right? You will scan, and in the scanning phase, you send flags, right? So we have TCP flags. So in TCP flags, we send the send flags. Now, if there is a firewall and that firewall is blocking your TCP packets, right? Or it is blocking send packets, right? So what you will do, then you will send UDP packets, right? So that's your approach. That's how your approach should be, right? So about the tools, you will be having your own tools, whatever you want to use, and using those tools, you will do the testing, right?
Okay, yeah, got it.
Right. Any other questions for me, guys? Okay, great. Now, what I have questions for you. So, if any of you guys have done CH, or you have some idea about CH and the attacking, So there are some practice questions that I have, and you guys can just answer them, right? So first I will be showing you guys a question, then the options, and you have to tell which option is the most appropriate one, right? So today was questionnaire. So just let's start with the practice questions. By this, you will get the idea that what kind of questions arrive in your exam, right? So the first question says, what command can you use to switch to a different user in Linux? If you want to switch to a different user, what command will you use? Want to see the options? Anyone who can give me the answer without any options?
Sudo minus
Yes.
SU.
Yeah.
See,
Great. So let's see the options. Now these are the options. The first one says SWU, second says user, third says sudo, and the last one says SU. Now which option you choose?
D.
Okay, how many are with D?
I'm with one. A.
SWU. Now what is SWU? Now guys, what happens? First, in your exam, what you have to do, you have to read the question carefully. What command can you use to switch to a different user in Linux? It's not asking the root user.
It is a
So,
SU.
okay, great, Mr. Amol. We use sudo su, right, to be the root user. Now, what is the meaning of sudo su first? Can anyone tell me? So, sudo su means super
So normal,
user
yeah,
do substitute user or switch user, right? So super user do switch user. Now, if I am a root user, let's say it says my prompt says root at Kali, right? This is my prompt. Now, if I want to change my user, so I will not write sudo now, right? So that's what your question says. What command can you use to switch to a different user? So let's say if I have 5 users, so and one user is with the name let's say XYZ, right? So what I will do, I will write so XYZ, right? So the correct answer for this question is SU, which is switch user or substitute user. Clear for everyone?
yes.
Yes.
Great. Now let's move on to the next question, guys. Now the next question says, what technique might you use if you had access to a local network, but the network used switches and you wanted to see all the traffic? Any guesses? Now let's see the options, guys. That what options do we have? We have DNS poisoning, phishing, ARP spoofing, packet fragmentation.
I think so. It's C because our spoofing can do that particular thing.
Yeah. What others say?
I think C.
Okay, C. Now DNS
Like
poisoning.
fragmentation.
Yeah, we can see that as well. Now what happens, guys? Let me tell you now. Read the question again. What technique might you use if you had access to a physical network but the network used switches? So first thing over here is switches, the keyword that you captured, and you wanted to see all the traffic. Now I wanted to see the whole traffic. So what happens? DNS we could use if there is any DNS server, but it's not saying there is any DNS server. So we'll keep this option out, right? Now phishing. Phishing is what? Phishing means sending malicious emails to someone and making them click on those links and falling in your trap, right? We're not doing that, right? So let's remove this option. Packet fragmentation. We'll remove this option as well because we don't have any packet, we don't have any data. So packet fragmentation means you are breaking your data into small packets, and where packet fragmentation is needed, packet fragmentation is needed in DOS attacks, denial of service attacks, because what you will do, you will break your packets into thousands of pieces so that you will eat up the bandwidth and the resources of that particular server, right? So these three are not the answers. So the best answer is ARP spoofing. ARP stands for Address Resolution Protocol. And what happens in ARP? Can anyone tell me?
Miss, yesterday, like you told, that generally we do not have an idea if we have any IP, whether it is a host IP or the end user's IP. So for that, we use the ARP technique.
Correct. So what we have ARP, which resolves your IP address to the MAC address. So if you have the IP, your device will ask for MAC address. Now, how it is asking, let's say this is a device, this is the other device, this is one more, and this is one more. Now, this is the network they are connected to, right? Now, the first system, let's say this is the PC1, this is PC2, and this is PC3, this is PC4. Now, PC1 knows the IP address of PC2, so PC1 will say anyone having the IP address of, let's say, dot 121 is the IP address of PC1, and dot 123 is the IP address of PC2. So PC1 will say that anyone having the IP address of dot 123 reply me with your MAC address. Now this is the ARP request and PC4 is the hacker. So this hacker got that request also. So before PC2 could reply back, the PC4 will reply that a fake reply it will send that I am dot 123 and my MAC address is ABC, right? So that's how your ARP spoofing works, right? PC4 got the ARP
I,
request and he
uh,
sent the fake reply to PC1 that this is me.
so Ashish, I have one question over here. My name is Kavandeep. So in CS, are we also talking about the tools which do the ARP spoofing, like apps, ARP spoof or drift net tools? Are
Yes,
we?
yes, I will be showing you that how ARP spoofing works. So we'll be having practical of those as well,
Okay,
right?
okay, thank you.
Oh, great. So the answer for this will be ARP spoofing. right? Okay, let's move on to the next question. What tool could be used to collect information like email addresses from PGP servers, Bing, Google, or LinkedIn? Any idea? Let's see the options. The option one is NBT Stat, Dig, the Harvester, and Megaping. Now, what do you think? Any idea, anyone? Okay. Three guys says Harvester. Now let's see what every option does. Megaping. What is the work of Megaping? Megaping is used for scanning the networks, right? So Megaping is probably not the answer, right? NBT Stat, Net BIOS Statistics, right? So it is used to gather information about net BIOS on Windows system. Dig. What is dig? Anyone? Now, guys, dig is used to gather information from DNS servers. So this is not the answer. We are left with the harvester. Now the harvester is what? Harvester is a tool that is used to collect information like email addresses from PGP servers, Bing, Google, and LinkedIn, right? So it will search for everything and every place, whatever email addresses you need, and it will show you the email addresses, right? So that is the work of harvester. Clear, everyone? Any doubts?
So these are licensed tool which is used specifically for that task only. Is it so?
These are the tools that are created for that work only. So you have these
Okay.
tools inside your Linux, Kali Linux. So these are pre-installed tools. Some you have to install, but these are all found in Linux, and you can use these tools. So you should know just the working of the tool, and whenever you need
Okay.
it, you can use it.
Okay.
Right? Great. Okay. Let's move on to the next question, guys. What would you use the program PackETH for? Let's look at the options as well. Packet crafting, Ethernet testing, man in the middle attack, IP analysis. PackETH. What do you think? Okay. So do you guys know what is pack ETH?
As per name is ETH, so maybe Ethernet, but not
Yeah,
heard about that.
it's used.
It is a packet generator for Ethernet.
Correct. So what we have, man in the middle attack. It's not the one, right? First remove this because we can see even if we don't know the answer, packet is there, ETH is there, and Ethernet is there. So man in the middle does not suits, right? Next we have IP analysis. Now for IP analysis, I don't think we use packet ATH because if we want to analyze any IP, we will capture the IP in between using Wireshark. We can do that. Using TCP dump, we can do that, right? So these two are not in the list. Now the name is saying pack ETH. Packet is in the first option. Ethernet is in the second option. Now what can we do? So for Ethernet testing, we don't use it, right? We use it for packet crafting for Ethernet networks. So if you are connected to a wired network and you want to just send a packet, let's say, as I told, any packet is, let's say, blocked. If I am sending ping to a website and ping is blocked for that website, what will I do? I will send, I will create my own packet and I will send that, right? So for packet crafting, we use pack ETH in Ethernet networks. So the correct option will be packet crafting. Now for your wireless networks, let's say as I told you that I'm going to ping a website and I'm not able to ping that website. So what we have to first know that ping uses ICMP, right? Internet Control Message Protocol. So if I'm not able to ping any website, that means ICMP is blocked in that website. So what I can use a tool which is with the name HPing3. Now this is also packet crafting tool, right? Right. So HPing3 we can use. Now ping, as I told you, it's a utility. HPing3 is a tool. Now, what is the difference between tool and a utility, guys? Anyone? So let me first show you how your pack ATH looks like. So it looks like this. You just have to write pack ATH. So it is also a tool because this is how it looks like and I have to install it, right? So if you have to install anything, if you need to install anything, that thing is called tool, which is not present in all places. Because if you will use ping is present in Windows as well and in Linux as well and different distributions of Linux in Mac as well. But HPing 3 is there in Kali Linux pre-installed, but it's not present in Windows, right? So the thing that you have to install, that is called a tool. The thing that is pre-built and present in all the operating system, not only your, but other operating systems as well, that is called utility, right? Clear everyone? Any
Yes.
doubts? Any queries? Clear with this, everyone? Great.
Yes.
Let's move on to the next question. Now it's a very easy one. Without options, you can answer. Which of the following is used for recording keystrokes at a terminal or keyboard using malicious software?
Keyloggers.
Keyloggers. And what if keylogger is not there in the options? Let's see first. Options. Yep, keylogger is there in the options. So we have spyware, we have malware, we have keylogger, we have recordware. Now, keyloggers arrive in hardware and software packages. So keylogger can be a hardware, keylogger can be a software as well. So they are used to capture the victim's keystrokes at a terminal, and it will save those keystrokes to be later retrieved by the attacker to replay their credentials, right? Now, keylogger is also a malware. So malware is what? Malware is a bigger thing where in which keylogger is also there, spyware is also there, rootkits are also there, right? So there are other types of malwares. Now, spyware is what? Spyware is nothing, just a malware used to monitor activity on a system. So it will not log any keystrokes, right? And recordware is not a thing, right? So that is why our answer is keylogger. Doubts? Great. Let's move on to the next question. It's also regarding malware, I think. Software that creates pop-up advertisement messages while visiting websites is known as what?
Adware.
Let's see the options. Now, options are adware, malware, pop-up blocker, freeware.
The first one.
Adware.
Everyone adware? Anyone having any other answer? Okay, great. So as we discussed in the last question, that malware is a bigger picture, right? Inside malware, there are different kinds of malwares, right? Now, pop-up blocker, which will block all the pop-ups in your system. Yes. Now, freeware is what? Anyone? Freeware. What is freeware? What do you understand by freeware?
Free softwares.
Correct. Freeware is any kind of software that does not cost money, right? So we are left with adware. So adware is the correct option. So adware is what? These are the fleshy pop-ups that advertise for commercial products or sometimes whenever you are visiting websites like torrent, so you might get a pop-up saying that your mobile phone or your laptop is infected with a virus. For scanning it, just click on this link. So these are what? These are the hoaxes. Hoaxes means these adwares gives you false pretenses, right? So this is the correct answer, your adware, right? Clear, everyone? Okay, let's move on to the next one. Ability for information or services that must be accessible at a moment's notice is called what?
Availability.
Let's see the options then. Survivability, availability, CIA, redundancy. Now, what is survivability? In this context, survivability is nothing. CIA is your confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Now, also, it is triad, but as separate, it is also called your Central Intelligence Agency, right? Now, CIA is not the answer because it has all three things. We are left with availability and redundancy. Now, the ability of information or services that must be accessible at a moment's notice. So, it is availability that we are making sure that your information remains available, right? It should remain available whenever a person in the organization needs that information. Now, what is redundancy? Can anyone tell me what is redundancy then?
Anything repeated, it's twice or maybe generate.
Okay. Anyone else? Redundancy. Application. Great. So I have, let's say, this is the place, right? This is switch 1. This is switch 2. These are the switches that I'm creating. Now, this is the place. This is how they are connected with each other. So, do we have redundancy over here? This PC is connected to the switch, and this PC is connected to the switch. So, do we have redundancy over here? Redundancy means whenever we have more than one path to reach somewhere, right? So if this PC, let's say this is PC1, it wants to send data to this PC2, so it has two paths. This is the switch in between, so it has this path as well. So the data can go like this, or the data can go like this as well. So we have redundant path, right? So that is redundancy. For availability, redundancy is used. So redundancy is used to ensure availability, right? So that if one path is not working, if I am connected using a wired connection, and if I'm not able to get that data because the wire is fault in between, there is some fault in wire. So what will I do? What will my system will do? It will take the other path, right? So redundancy ensures availability, but the ability of a system that your services must be accessible, that is availability. We also have confidentiality and integrity. So confidentiality is what? Anyone?
Secrecy of maintaining the information through authorized users only rather than unauthorized users.
So we are making sure that our information remains confidential, our information remains away from unauthorized access. So only the authorized people will be able to access the information. So if you are sending something to me or you are sending something to one of your colleague and I am able to access that data in between, so confidentiality is being breached, right? So your data should remain confidential. And if we talk about confidentiality, so we maintain confidentiality using encryption, right? So we encrypt our data so that even if there is any attacker in between, that attacker will not be able to understand the data. But what that attacker can do, that attacker is not able to understand the data, but that attacker is able to change the data. So let's say I'm sending hello to someone and that attacker changed this data from hello, like this was encrypted. So hello in encrypted format will look like this, ELHLO, right? So the attacker changed this data from hello to hi, right? So that's the thing, guys. This is what confidentiality is there. Attacker didn't got our data, but he was able to change the data. And this is called integrity. Making sure that our data remains same without any alteration, without any unauthorized modification, our data should remain same, right? So that is integrity. So now here integrity has been breached. So we use integrity to make sure that our data should remain same as it was created, right?
Ashish, this encryption should be part of means integrity is achieved through encryption, right? Whereas confidentiality is through authorization or authentication concept, if I'm not wrong.
Confidentiality is maintained by access control, steganography, encryption, and integrity is maintained using hashing. If the hash is changed, so with this data, I will also send a hash of this data, right? So if the data is changed, hash will also change, right? So now if the hash is changed, that means in between the data is not same. So we use hashing for integrity and encryption for confidentiality, right?
Okay, okay.
Okay. Clear with this, everyone? Any doubts? Okay, let's move on to the next question. What do you call a device that facilitates connections and act as middlemen between user, workstation, and servers they communicate with, commonly outside the network? So the keyword over here is commonly outside the network, and that facilitates connection, act as a middleman. So let's see the options, guys. Firewall, main in the middle, gateway, proxy server.
It should be man in the middle or main in the middle. Okay, I think so. B.
Main in the middle, is it a device? Now, first thing you can see it says device, facilitates connections. and commonly outside the network. So main in the middle is nothing. It's not even man in the middle, it's main in the middle. So main in the middle is nothing, right? And even if it is man in the middle, so it's not a device, right? Now you have three options left: gateway, firewall, proxy server.
I think firewall.
Okay. What others think? Okay. Mr. Ataur Rahman says proxy server, right? Okay. Now, firewall does not sits in the middle of the conversation, right? Now, gateway, if I tell you the answer, so the correct answer is proxy server. So what happens? This is your internal network. There are different devices, right? Now, there is a proxy server that is doing what? It is taking your request and then sending your request to the internet. So this is internet. It is taking your request to the internet, right? If
Just one confusion, Ashish here. Sorry to interrupt you. So proxy server is work like as a DMZ.
does it works like DMZ? DMZ
O-
is anything
Yeah.
that you want to give public facing, you will put that in DMZ, right?
Okay.
But here what is
Right.
happening, all the requests that you are sending from your system or any other system is from inside the network, any system that is sending the request
Okay.
will be going to the proxy server. Now proxy server will decide that whether that request will be accepted or not. Let's say you are trying to access facebook.com, right, from inside your office and your official laptop. So if you're not having any policies regarding the social media platform, so you cannot access Facebook over there. So proxy server decides and it facilitates the connections. So it acts as a middleman. So all the requests going from the internal network, the destination for those requests is proxy server. All the requests that are going to the internet, the origination of those requests for the internet, it is proxy server. From the internet, whatever reply we are getting, the destination for those requests is proxy server, and then proxy server will revert you back, right? So that's how proxy server is sitting in between. It is a device that acts as a buffer between workstations which are trusted and
Uh,
servers commonly outside the enterprise which are untrusted, right?
so over here we can say that, like, if a client is there, we are actually putting over there a default gateway, right? So default gateway is a it actually it goes to the default gateway, right, or a proxy server.
Proxy can be a gateway, but there are different kinds of gateway, and a gateway does not necessarily participate in the conversation in the same way a proxy server does, right? So we need a proxy server for applying the controls that what kind of websites are accepted, what kinds of websites are not accepted, right? We can say proxy server is a kind of gateway, a sort of gateway, but lots of gateways are there, and gateways are not for this particular thing. Gateways are there for like taking you to this particular website, right? So whatever website you will just ask, the gateways will take you to that website, right? So that is why the answer is proxy server, not gateway, not the firewall. Clear, everyone?
Okay.
Next questions. Which of the following tools can be used to DDoS a target system? DDoS stands for Distributed Denial of Service. So now we have options. LOIC, SIMM, CAN enable, AOL, PUNTER, AOL punter. Now the first option that you will remove from here will be CAN enable, because CAN enable is used for cracking the passwords, right? Now, have you ever heard anything like SIMM or AOL punter for DDoS, related to DDoS? Heard of anything like that? No, because these are not the real things. These are not the real answers. So the answer that we have is LOIC, which stands for low orbit ion cannon. We have HOIC as well, high orbit ion cannon. We have other tools like Hulk as well. But in this, the option is LOIC, low orbit ion cannon. Clear, guys? So this is the tool that we can use for doing a DDoS attack, right? Next question. In the TCP/IP model, what is the equivalent of the OSI network layer? Any answers without looking at the options? So the options are network, internet, transport, network access. What is the equivalent of the OSI network layer? In OSI model, we have 7 layers. In TCP/IP model, we have 4 layers or 5 layers. So some vendors say 4 layers, some vendors say 5 layers. So let's take it as a 4, and there is network layer in OSI model. So the name of network layer in TCP/IP model is,
It is internet.
okay. And what others say? Okay. Now there is no network layer in your TCP/IP model. Transport layer is there. Transport layer is different, right? It does the segmentation part. Network access layer. Network access layer has a data link layer and physical layer attached, merged with each other. So we are only left with internet layer. So the name of network layer of OSI model in TCP/IP model, the name is internet layer, right? Clear, everyone? Okay. Now, next question. What flag is used to order a connection to terminate?
Fin.
Okay, let's see the options. We have SEN, we have FIN, we have PSH, we have RST. Now, there are total of 6 flags in TCP, right? So, we discussed about TCP flags. So, what we have SEN, ACK, FIN, RST, push, and urgent, right? SYN stands for synchronization, ACK stands for acknowledgement, FIN stands for finish, RST reset, PSH push, URG urgent. Now, if you want to start a legal communication, we will always send a SYN flag and there will be then an acknowledgement. So these two are not the flags to terminate the connection. Next, we have PSH. So PSH is used to push the data towards the receiver, right? So when your buffer is full, so there is a buffer. Now we will fill the buffer with the data. So these are the datas. After that, we will add the push flag and the data will be pushed towards the receiver. Same like with the urgent, but urgent does what? If you want to send any data, if you have any data, that should be sent first, and that is last in the queue, but we need to send that data first. So then we will be using the urgent flag. So the data in push is sent sequentially, and in urgent the data is sent non-sequentially. Now we are left with fin and reset. If you will use fin, the connection will be closed. If you will use reset, the connection will be closed, right? Both of these flags are used to close the connection. Now why fin only? Why not reset?
The proper closing is the fin packet, fin flag.
Correct. So fin does what? The proper termination of a connection using four-way handshake, right? So using four-way handshake, fin closes the connection. Reset means abruptly closing the connection, right? Abruptly means we are not saying even a goodbye to the target, and we are just stopping our connection. We stopped sending any packets, right? We send the reset packet and connection is closed. So that is abruptly closing the connection, right? So that is why we will choose the correct option as when, right? Any doubts? Let's move on to the next question. Which of these attacks targets the client in a web application? Let's see the options. Which of these attacks target the client in a web application? XML external entity, which we call XXE as well. Cross-site scripting, XSS. SQL injection, SQLi, or command injection. What do you think? Which one is the answer? Okay. 2 says XSS, Mr. Arul says SQLi. What others say?
XXS, cross-site scripting.
XSS. Now, first thing, XML external entity. Now, in XML external entity, what we do, we put the XML queries inside that, XML code inside that. So whenever your data is traveling in web application, it looks something like this. Doc type is written. So inside doc type, or there is one more tag, reference. So in reference tag, we do what? We put our queries. Let's say I'm written slash etc slash password. So it will show me the password file. So from where it is getting me the password file? From the server, right? So XXE is not the option. SQLi. In SQLi, what we are doing, we are writing the commands. Select, let's say I'm writing union select all and 1 comma 2 comma 3, and I'm writing hyphen hyphen in the last. So this is what it is, a union based SQL injection, and in this I'm trying to retrieve the information from a server, not the option, right? Command injection. What is command injection, anyone? Now command injection is what? Command injection is also done on the server, and what we do in command injection, we try to execute our own commands in the server, in the target operating system, right? So that is command injection. So that's why we are left with XSS, cross-site scripting, in which what we do, we'll write something like this. Let's say I'm writing script and alert, any alert, right? And script close, right? So this means if it gives you the pop-up, that means that website is vulnerable to cross-site scripting, right? So if I show you any website, so this is one website that we have, and in this website, if I write anything, let's say this is a search box. So first you have to find a place where you will write your XSS script. And if I write this and this, so what I have written, if I click on go, so I will get a pop-up, and that pop-up says you got hacked, right? So this is the thing that tells us that this website is vulnerable to cross-site scripting, right? So that is your cross-site scripting. Clear, everyone? Great. Now the next question, pretty easy. What is default port number for telnet? Let's see the options.
23.
Everyone 23? Great. Because port number 21 is for FTP, 53 is for DNS, and 443 is for HTTPS. So 23 is for telnet. So the correct answer will be telnet, guys. Right? Okay. Next question. At what layer of the OSI model does ARP reside?
So data link layer, sir.
Okay. So the options are presentation layer, application layer, physical layer, network layer. Data link layer is not even in the options.
Physical
What do you guys think? What will be the answer? Okay, Mr. Krishna says network.
Network layer.
Great. Anyone else?
Network layer only.
Now in presentation layer, what happens, guys? The encryption and decryption of data happens. So the data is encrypted and decrypted, right? Application layer is basically the GUI, whatever the closest layer to the user. So whatever the user is seeing in like whatever you guys are seeing on your screens, that is application layer. Physical layer basically talks about the cables, hubs, right? And the Ethernet thing, right? The repeaters as well. Now the last we are left with network layer. So why we are calling it network layer? So ARP address resolution protocol, which has IP as well, MAC as well. Now, if I'm saying that address resolution protocol works on layer 3, right? That does not means it does not works on layer 2. It works on all the other layers as well. It works on data link layer, it works on physical layer as well. But why we are saying it layer 3? Because it has IP, it has MAC, right? So it resolves the IP to MAC. That is why we are saying it is it works on layer 3, right? So the correct answer is network layer. That it works on network layer.
Sir, if option was data link layer also, then network layer, both options are, then which one you have to select, sir?
No, we have to select only network layer because if any device, let's say we are talking about a router, right? On which layer your router works? Your router, if we are talking about a router, where your router is working?
Network.
Network layer.
Network layer.
Yes, it
Network layer.
works. IP.
Do your router understands MAC address? Do your every port of your router has a different MAC address?
See,
Yes,
yes.
it understands MAC address. It has a different MAC address at every port. But we don't say it is on data link layer because data link layer is also a part. But if I'm saying that any device or any protocol is working on a layer, so that does not means it is only working on that layer. It is working on the layer that are below it also, right? So we call it router works on network layer, but it also works on your data link layer and it has also a wire connected. So it is also working on physical layer. So same like that with ARP as well, right? Any doubts? Okay, great. Now let's move on to the last question of today, guys. So the last question says, which is the last step in the TCP three-way handshake?
act.
Axen, Synac, Fin. So what is three-way handshake? As I told you guys, three-way handshake whenever you want to share any data with any device, right? Let's say you want to share your data with your friend's device or your colleague's device. First, your devices will do the three-way handshake, right? So that means this is the device and These are the two devices, device 1, device 2. So device 1 will send a SYN packet saying, hello Mr. 2, can I connect with you? I want to share some data. Now PC2 will reply back and will say, hello PC1, yes, you can connect with me. Can I connect with you? So that is their language of communicating. They will, so PC2 will send SYNAC. Now in the last step, it will send, yes, you can connect with me. So it will send an acknowledgement. So the correct answer will be acknowledgement, right? SYN is the first step, FIN is nothing, SYNAC is the second step. So the third step is acknowledgement, right? That we are trying to send acknowledgement. We will send the acknowledgement to the target, right? So that is your three-way handshake.